Ice to see ya.
Must everything be a joke?
Yeah, it does.
What's up, guys? Max here, and over the past couple of days, we got a big update on the latest character that got released with information from MKX, and it was Johnny Cage. Johnny's taken quite a bit of a redesign. He's a dad now. He's also a husband, or ex-husband according to the story. So there's a lot of interesting stuff going on in regards to his new character design, and it's one of the first times Johnny Cage is actually featured with a freaking shirt on. Either way, there's some classic stuff that we saw within the story of how he's actually going to look a little bit different from in the past to how he is now. So, in general, I think he actually looks pretty damn cool. Even though he is aged, I still feel that he's very young-hearted, and the way he's presented and his voice actor and everything is pretty damn good, and he fits amongst the cast right now. But let's talk about what's going on with his gameplay and in terms of how he's actually going to conduct himself. Johnny Cage is essentially the same as you remember him. The dash kick, the nut punch, the fireballs, all that stuff remains from the previous versions of the game. However, there is a pretty cool thing they were talking about, how you can extend the nut punch into a launcher combo as a result of using a little bit of meter. The first one is called Fisticuffs, and it quite literally has Johnny with his name engraved on like gold knuckle dusters around his hand. And the majority of combos that would normally beat the heck out of you kind of beat the heck out of you even harder because stuff just gets extended. For example, a lot of the different things he can do when he gets closer to danger health, which is like sub below 20% or so, he gets a little bit more of an advantage in terms of damage and the combo capabilities. For example, he gets like a couple extra hits on some of his throws, extending the damage up to like 15% or more in some situations, which is pretty damn good. Hilariously enough, he actually takes an ability from the previous Injustice game that NetherRealm worked on, and has something that Batgirl used from that game. Her specific combo trait was that she can switch between these claws that would either punch you really hard with electricity or stab you and do more damage, but the electricity would do extended chip damage, and you do get something very similar with Johnny and his knuckles, essentially. So they do a bit more chip, they hurt a lot more when you're actually blocking attacks when you activate this thing, so kind of funny how we've seen a lot of stuff from Injustice in this game, and they're definitely taking it towards and going forward. Now, the next variation is called Stunt Double, and I find this one to be the most interesting because it could be telling of what's going to happen with a future character in MK. Essentially, Johnny is kind of like doubled over. He has this mimicry kind of move where he gets a stunt double and he's able to duplicate the moves he has. And if this doesn't visually look something similar to a character we saw in a previous MK game, you might be calling it right now, this looks a lot like Noob Saibot. And I do think Noob Saibot was one of the coolest looking characters in MK9. I had a lot of gripes with some of the characters' looks in that previous game, but Noob Saibot looked fantastic and had these doubling over style moves that kind of repeated themselves. And quite literally, Johnny is taking this away. It's represented by seeing a green tint in his sunglasses, but it's kind of weird how they're kind of removing a mechanic that a character had before and replacing it with something that they got now, which is kind of crazy. I do hope Noob Saibot makes an appearance in this game. I don't think he's an extremely popular MK character, but he's one of those ninjas that is pretty damn awesome, and I really do not want him to be gone. And last but not least is A-list Johnny Cage, and this might potentially be the most technical, but I find to be the most humorous out of them all, because it represents a mechanic that was present in a Capcom game that came out not too long ago, and you all might remember that game. It's called Street Fighter Cross Tekken. In A-list, Johnny Cage gets the ability to hold down and charge certain special moves, and then eventually launch them for more damaging variations. However, he does get the ability to dash cancel out of some of these moves, like focus attack, dash cancel, Street Fighter 4 stuff, and in a way he sort of has that, but more so it allows you to make some specials maybe like fake them out, make people think that you're going to be throwing that fireball and then you dash forward, or think that you're going to do a flip kick and then you totally dash under them, which is pretty interesting. This is going to be the fake out variation, and as you guys remember, you can actually charge special moves in Street Fighter Cross Tekken or select specials, and even charge them up to get like super variations or EX variations, so this is very similar to that. And like in previous games from Capcom, you can dash out of that stuff in those games too, so kind of interesting. They seem to be taking mechanics from a lot of different things, including their older games, and just kind of going nuts with it, which I think is a fantastic thing to do because essentially we get more variety in MKX. That's all I got for now, guys. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you for tuning in. Johnny Cage looks pretty damn cool. There's not really a character I'm disappointed with in this game so far, and it's very impressive with the route they're going at the moment. But there is a few other characters that were hinted and teased at that are not officially announced yet, but have a lot of information and a lot of different visual stuff associated. Stay tuned, guys. I'll be back with that as soon as possible. My name is Max, and I'll see you next time.